What if I told you that the entire reason for your existence is to experience a happy, joyful, abundant life in this very moment, in this very now? What if I told you that that was your intended purpose, but the reason you're not living that joyful experience, abundant experience today is because you're keeping yourself apart from that experience? Most people would probably check out and tune out by now and say, you know what, this guy's just another sham telling me something that I'm supposed to be abundant. Well, with mathematical precision, that is the truth to 100% of the time. The fact is, your abundance is already there. You're just not seeing it from a joyful, wonderful perspective. Let's break down how your abundance aligns with your belief system, and you don't really even understand or even take heed to how that actually works. Most people teach, hey, there's this law of attraction, and all you gotta do is think happy thoughts, and then you'll get the things you want. The truth is, thoughts, that's part of the process. The reality is, your thoughts are not just something that you can have when you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna be abundant, bring my abundance. Your thoughts are tied to your belief system. And the way it works is something like this. Your beliefs create your thoughts. Your thoughts create your words. Your words create your actions, and your actions create your outcomes. So it's a simple process. It's a simple formula. The truth is, most people are living with belief systems that don't align with the outcomes they want, but they align perfectly in an abundant, mathematically precise way to the outcomes that they're currently getting. The other day I was in the supermarket walking down the aisles and I heard a couple. I thought it was just the conversation, but it seemed to be a little loud and aggressive. And I looked at the couple, and they were an interesting couple to say the least. And the guy was trying to get his point across, and the woman stopped and said, "I'm right here. Why are you yelling at me?" And it wasn't with a nice, kind tone. It wasn't with an understanding tone. And his tone was even worse and more assertive and aggressive and had a little bit of a negative undertone. I didn't really know or understand what they were talking about, but I could tell that the outcome that that conversation was leading to aligned with the belief systems they had. Because the words they were using were harsh, critical, mean, frustrated, angry tones of voices that aligned with their thoughts. And most likely, if I got deeper and got to know them, I'd bet it aligned with their belief system as well. You see, in that moment, I was attracted to listen and understand and just watch the body language. I didn't really care what they were talking about. It was just such a shocking way of communication to me that it seemed off. If you're in a relationship and you want to have a healthy relationship, watching someone talk to someone in a way that's aggressive and the other person reacting like, "Why are you talking to me this way?" That just indicates to me that both of them, they're probably a perfect match for each other in some ways, but they've got some work to do on creating the abundance that they want for themselves in life. The truth is, when you think of what you're saying on a daily basis, it probably matches with your actions and it probably matches with your outcomes. When I spent my time in corporate America, one of the biggest challenges I had was interacting with people from an enlightened, from a positive, from an ambitious perspective. See, I would work in certain environments and I found quickly these environments weren't for me, but I'd work with people and they were like, coming from the perspective of, oh, I'm just so happy to have this job and I'm so thankful. I don't want to do anything to mess up. I'm going to be a good worker and I'm going to be a perfect person. And I'm just going to make it work. But I say, are you happy with it? They're like, well, happiness doesn't matter. I'm here because I have to be. I got to pay my bills. I got to do it. And it was just always this interesting, frustrated undertone, but trying to make it spin and sound positive in their words. When you listen to their words, and I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to do this, you're either doing or you're not doing. Trying is a word we use to convince ourselves that we're doing when we really aren't. You can't try to take someone's phone from their hand. You take it or you don't. And you can pull on it, but if they don't let go, you don't take it. You're not trying, you're just not doing it. And that's the reality is most people think that trying is changing our words. But when we're trying to use words that match the outcomes that we want when we're not actively trying to change our beliefs. See the play there? You can't try to change the outcomes. You either change the outcomes or you don't. You can't try to change your beliefs. You either change your beliefs or you don't. Think about the last time something difficult happened to you. How did you react? What was what was the feeling that you had? What was the emotion that you put forth after that unfortunate circumstance? We've all had unfortunate things happen to us, but the truth is, it's how we react that will tell us what we believe about that thing. The reality is, our beliefs first come up when we react to something that we perceive as bad. When you start to understand that everything that is bad in your life is a product of that belief system, you can start understanding, hey, if I keep reacting the same way to these outcomes, then my belief system won't change. So let's start talking about what that belief system may look like, may help us understand. I'll use the example of the people I used to work with. The reality is, they would get stuck in a belief cycle of, I have to do this to have this outcome. Me, I always did the exact opposite. I would look for the outcome that I wanted, figure out what I had to do, believe, say, think to become that person. So there was a point in my career, I was frustrated with where I was career-wise. I took some time off to go work on a business, help someone out with a business, and it didn't work out. But what that business taught me was I'm more valuable in this world than just the job that I was doing before. So I started looking for a career that matched the income level that I wanted at that time. The reality was, it was a $40,000 to $50,000 raise I was expecting, having just taken 6 to 7 months off of work and going from one job to a much higher level job. It was so outrageous to some people's perspective. I'll use this example. While talking to a recruiter that I've worked with in the past, I explained to her, hey, this is the goal I have for myself. This is the income level I'm looking to achieve. Here's where I think I should be. And she immediately said to me, well, why do you think that someone should just give you a 45 grand raise when you're doing this before? You should just stick to the job that you're used to and be happy with that. I quickly turned the conversation off and said bye to her, thankfully, and I can't say never spoke to her again, but I didn't speak to her again in terms of looking for a job. The truth is, I knew what I was worth, I knew what I was capable of, and I knew the value that I would provide to a company, could provide, and was going to provide. I changed my beliefs on who I was inside and allowed my thoughts, my words, and my actions to mimic that. My resume changed. It started speaking like a leader that's accomplished things. I started formulating conversations with people that changed the way that I produced and thought about how I did my work. In fact, the very next job was that $45,000 to $50,000 raise that I expected to have, just by changing my process, my conversation, the way that I talked about work, the way I talked about myself, the way I talked about my accomplishments. And when I changed the way I talked about my accomplishments, I changed the outcome. The outcome was simple. It changed my financial life. I was able to save more. I was able to buy a car that I always wanted to own. I was able to live in a way that allowed me to be successful, create savings, create investments, and do the right things that I was supposed to do in life comfortably for the very first time. In fact, that changed my perspective so quickly that I didn't even really know how to handle it. It was almost like I had to pinch myself when I got the call back that I was going to get this job. But the truth was, long before that moment, I had already changed my personality, changed my perspective, changed my belief systems to align with the goal that I wanted. And as I stepped away from corporate America, by way of being forced out due to injury, long-term disability, I realized that if I'm going to influence the world in a better way, I needed to change my belief system again. And that's the same is true for you. When you look at your belief system, look at the way that you see yourself, look at the way you think about yourself, look at the way you handle problems. You see, the person I am today, when something bad happens today, I don't emotionally react. Yeah, I may feel a little frustrated, I feel a little angry, maybe upset, whatever it's going to be. Of course I still feel sadness, of course I still feel anger, all of those. But the truth is, I have to take a step back from that emotion, allow that emotion to have its space, but not react from the basis of that emotion. When I learned to put that emotion in its place and realize that that emotion isn't letting me know that doesn't align with the person that I'm striving to be, I take a step back and ask myself, what growth through my belief systems am I meant to have in this moment right here? And as I take the time to align my new version of me with the current version of me, I let those emotions shift into a motivation to help me change the beliefs, because I want different outcomes. If something bad happens, I don't want that to happen again. Yeah, it may happen over and over again, but I'll tell you one thing I've learned in life. You're going to keep experiencing the same pain, the same frustrations, the same challenges over and over and over again and feel like you're stuck living in Groundhog's Day. When in reality it's your belief systems that aren't changing, which are then keeping your thoughts the same, which are then keeping your words the same, keeping your actions the same, and giving you the same exact outcome over and over and over again. And until you change that belief system, you're going to be stuck living this repeated cycle, having the same experiences with different colors, flavors, and seasonings on top of it. But the truth is, change your beliefs, change your outcomes. I hope you found this video valuable. I'll have much more to share with you in the near future. Remember, subscribe, check out my website, Chris Monroe Speaks. I'm here to help you have an abundant, happy, healthy, and wealthy life. We're all here to live in abundance, but it all starts with changing your belief system so that you can then change your outcomes and experience the abundance that you want in life instead of the abundance that you don't want. But until those beliefs align with the version of you that has the abundance that you're striving to have, you're always going to be in this rinse and repeat cycle wondering why nothing is changing. You have the power to change and move closer to your divine inspiration, your divine calling, and what you're truly here to experience in this wonderful experience that we all get the opportunity to have, and that's called life. Have a wonderful day.